Describe where is Ockendon Academy at in 2011?
I think it's been an amazing year. We started off on the 1st of January becoming an academy, and after the big launch it was really a case of, well, okay, you're just going to be an outstanding school with a different name, or is it actually going to be something really quite special? And I suppose what we've done between now and then is really looked at all the different ways that we can grow and improve. Have we found all the different aspects of what we can do yet? Probably not, we're still learning. But the opportunity for partnership working, really exploring where we go next and setting ourselves even harder challenges, it's been quite a special year. But lots of things on the agenda. I don't know if you want to go through them now. Certainly one of the things we're really interested in is the joint working with Beacon Hill, where we're applying to become one of the first teaching schools in the country. And that will enable us to actually not only train future teachers, but if you think of using that as a magnet, we're working with the University of East London as one of our key partners. And the plan would be that we would work with them and Beacon Hill to run a whole range of different training programs, right from people with degrees that are coming through into the teaching profession, but also people in the profession that may want to go on to master's level, as well as a whole host of other middle leader and senior leader type training. But looking really positive. But you could only apply if you were an outstanding school and had outstanding in your last inspection, both for teaching and learning and for leadership. And both schools have. So again, coming together is really quite a major force for the East of England.
So you mentioned obviously that you're an outstanding school. I understand that Ofsted have now said that we don't really have to come and look at outstanding schools that often now. So does that mean you've got your feet up and smoking a cigar and relaxing?
I think one of the things that's really interesting about the school and what we've really tried to build into our systems from the very earliest days when we weren't an outstanding school is to continually challenge ourselves and actually work with some of the best consultants in the country who then come and check on us and quality assure the work that we're doing, so that we don't become complacent, that we are always literally on our toes and taking on new challenges. And I think it also means that you're more likely to be able to go out there and find the very best people. If you're looking at a new initiative, for example, something like studio schools, we went and talked to the people that are already doing it the best in the country. If you're doing something with teaching schools, you go and talk to the very best people. And so no, it actually has the opposite effect. I think one of the reasons why we were outstanding on the last inspections and continue to be now, certainly after the 2011 assessment, is the fact that we continue to actually challenge ourselves and set even higher standards, and that can be measured through our exam results, the expansion of the school and all the other initiatives that we're doing.
You on your open evening, you mentioned all the prospective parents and students at Ockendon Academy somehow do things differently. So is a studio school a real living, breathing example of that?
Yes, probably, because it actually came out of a negative. We were desperately disappointed when the local authority decided they weren't going to build their pre-vocational centre here. It was £1.8 million worth of investment that we were going to run on for the local authority. But we so believed in the work that we were doing for looking at the 14 to 19 agenda and what young people were going to need, and that linked to work, that we actually went out on the hunt, and we bumped into people along the way that said, there's this new thing coming along, you might be interested. And from that we've managed to meet some amazing people. So with the studio school, 14 to 19, directly related to business and industry. Ultimately, not straight away, but ultimately the school will be open for 50 weeks of the year. They will have to book their own term time holidays, it has to be around exams, all those sorts of things. Ultimately, it will be 9 to 5. And the way of working will be different. What we particularly liked about studio schools, it actually brought together academic excellence and practical learning and the world of work, and made it something that all students could actually really relate to. Now, it's not something that every child may want to pursue longer term, but we think there's lots of benefits, not only in our Key Stage 4, but obviously with the expansion into a sixth form. So some children will directly be involved in studio school, but the whole academy will actually benefit from the fact that we're working differently with business and with industry, and also looking at our information, advice and guidance work, for example.
when we filmed the NSPCC check presentation, afterwards you spoke to the students and they had a real sense that you really believe in the students.
Completely. Absolutely wonderful families that we have in the local area, and their children come here. They are smart, they arrive on time, they really want to get involved in the school, and those children were always here before, but now they've got a voice and now they expect to go into lessons that are well planned, well taught, that students are well behaved, and if they're not, then it will be dealt with swiftly and taken care of.
And is that something you try, say for example new staff, when it comes to new staff, is that something you try and inculcate with them to believe in the students, or does it already come with them?
I think one of the things is the amount of work people do before they actually even apply for a job these days. So they've well and truly checked us out on every front. But when we're actually looking for new staff, nobody actually even gets to interview unless we've actually seen them teach. Because if they can't cut it in the classroom, it doesn't really matter how nicely they speak at interview and how passionate they are. It needs to be shown in the classroom itself. And so one of the things, and the very first question at interview is actually, what do you think of our school? Because I want to know how much have they already picked up about the environment, about the atmosphere, about children's willingness to learn, what surprised them, were there in, because that usually gives you at least a small school, so people get a chance to see how important being in the classroom, the quality of teaching is, and we expect people to be self-reflective so that things haven't gone particularly well. So if I were to say to somebody, interesting, you would normally give yourself maybe an Ofsted grade 2 for that lesson, last week you gave it a 3, why was that? And they said, well actually, you took them out for photographs partway through my lesson and it really meant that I didn't quite achieve as much as I wanted to. So it does throw up issues that we have to take back as management and actually say, well, how are we running the school? Does it run efficiently? Do people know what to expect each day? And is the decisions that we're making at a whole school level supporting learning?
You've had a recent tug of war regarding a little bit of cash. It looks like you've been successful in retaining a large proportion of that money. What happens now with that money?
We've done as much of the preparation that we could around building an 8 classroom block. This isn't a Sir Norman Foster building. This is an eco build that would be actually constructed off-site and brought on. We're hopefully we'll sign the contracts in the next 2 weeks. We already have planning permission. The ground is cleared. We're all ready to go. It was just a case of waiting for the clearance on the money. But the classrooms are desperately needed, and hopefully they'll be here by Easter. It's
when we're filming Open Evening. We're not making Francis Ford Coppola, but there's great light in the school and it's very open, so to speak. Obviously, security with gates, etc. But there's a very sort of feeling of openness and everybody sort of as a real team feel in the school, isn't there?
Well, that's really nice that you actually notice it during your visit. I think one of the things I still try to do, we actually support a number of other schools in other local authorities, because it actually does me and my staff good to actually go out and not only help other people but also appreciate what we have here, because we have built it up over time. So whether it's the environment or the amount of light, the fact that we don't lock doors, the fact that children are in the building from 7:30 in the morning to whatever time they want to go home once they've done all their clubs and organisations, because it is about that feeling, creating a feeling where people are actually going to thrive and be the best they can be. Being the best you can be became our motto very early on, mainly because we had a large number of children that had always struggled at school, and what you don't want is a target that you can't achieve. But if you can actually look at yourself and say, I truly I have tried to be the best I can be, then everybody moves and everybody improves. And one of the things we'd like to do here is make sure everybody in this building, staff and students, is trying to be the best they can be. And that when they get it wrong, we look at why it's gone wrong, push it right and then move on. So there's that feeling about, it's less about the problem and more about, so how do you solve it and what's the next stage, I suppose, that really underpins lots of things that we do.